Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Inside the Inferno. I'm Courtney DeWallaby, joined alongside Hannah Flanagan to bring you the latest update in Arizona State athletics.
Thanks, Courtney. Sun Devil athletics have been heating up from field stormings in Tempe to hockey in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We have you covered.
Sun Devils were making noise across every sport this week. Our Ian King is here to give us the top moments you may have missed in this week's edition of the Sun Devil 6.
Thanks, Courtney. It's my pleasure to present this week's exciting edition of the Sun Devil 6. Sparking us into number 6 is ASU volleyball opposite hitter Noemi Glover, who gets vertical and closes the door on a set-winning block not once but twice in the first and fourth set for the game point in the win against conference rival Utah. Firing in at number 5 is quarterback Sam Levitt on the run on a crucial 4th and 2, connecting with wide receiver Jordan Tyson up the right sideline in the fourth quarter. This game-extending play set the Sun Devils up in the red zone on their game-winning drive in the upset win against number 7 Texas Tech. Skating in on the ice at number 4 is forward Cruz Lucius, who scored his second goal of the game off a circle-to-circle pass from forward Cullen Potter in the series finale against the Augustana Vikings. Back again at number 3 is quarterback Sam Levitt, who gets out of the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield and letting it fly while taking a hit to find wide receiver Jaron Hamilton for a 49-yard gain to move the chains with 3:59 in the first quarter against the Red Raiders. Flying in at number 2 is from Cameron Valadares' missile of a pass to Sierra Bergen, who finishes with the high-flying header to tie the game 2-2 at the 60th minute in the second half against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Running in at number 1 is defensive back Montana Warren, laying the smackdown on a Red Raider wide receiver, forcing the interception to linebacker Martell Hughes with 12:32 left in the third quarter in their upset win over number 7 ranked Texas Tech. Guys, that is all for the high-flying plays in this week's edition of the Sun Devil 6 as I toss it back to Hannah at the desk.
Now we switch gears to Brennan Bucher, who gives us an inside look at our Pro Devils on the ice, court, and gridiron.
Thanks, guys. The past Sun Devils continue to have a great run in the pros, and we've got 4 right here that have been performing phenomenally. First, we'll go to the most recent Sun Devil and only hockey player to have his number retired by the program, goaltender Joey Decord. He played last night and added to his already great season. Decord logged his first shutout and his 4th win after the Kraken beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-0. He's also posting an impressive .911 save percentage on the year. Staying on the ice, we'll go to forward Josh Doan. The Arizona native was the first pick of the day 2 in the 2021 NHL entry draft to the Arizona Coyotes. Now a member of the Buffalo Sabres, he's tied with fellow wingers Jack Quinn and Zach Benson in points with 6. Doan has potted 4 assists and 2 goals, one of them being a game winner. Next, we'll go to the NBA, where the Beard is back for another year. Guard James Harden, now in his 3rd year in LA, put up 15 on opening night for the LA Clippers. He also added 11 assists to a quality night. However, the Clippers still fell short 129-108. Harden will face off against the Phoenix Suns tonight as the Clippers have their first game of the year in the fabled Intuit Dome. Finally, we'll look at a former Sun Devil who was on the sidelines last week at the ASU Texas Tech football game. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk made his return to Mountain America Stadium and in an interview said it was wide receiver Jordan Tyson who got him on a plane to Tempe. Ayuk was a first-round draft pick in 2020 and has been a star for the San Francisco 49ers when healthy. In 2022 and 2023, he had over 1,000 yards and was once again on pace for that in 2024 before an ACL and MCL injury sidelined him, and we haven't seen him on the field since. The Sun Devils continue to shine post-college, and with that, I'll toss it back to the desk.
Thanks, Brennan. After last weekend's win, the Sun Devils are now ranked 24. Our Ashton Sharon joins us in the studio to break down the Maroon and Gold's play. Ashton, who was Sparky's biggest contributor in the Sun Devils' win last Saturday?
Thanks, Courtney. Well, it was quarterback Sam Levitt being back in action. ASU's own version of Batman and Robin, Levitt and wide receiver Jordan Tyson connected for 105 yards and a touchdown. Levitt proved to be the X factor as he continued to shine and shatter personal records coming back from injury.
You mentioned Levitt broke personal records in the win. What records did he break?
Levitt threw a career-high 47 pass attempts and 319 yards against the 7th-ranked Red Raiders. Levitt's performance helped lead the Sun Devils to their first win against a top 10 opponent since 2019, when future Heisman winner quarterback Jaden Daniels defeated number 6-ranked Oregon and quarterback Justin Herbert in Tempe.
Levitt's legacy was on full display against Texas Tech. How has the team's success changed when he's not under center?
Well, the Sun Devils have only lost 2 regular season games thus far when Levitt starts. On the other hand, when he doesn't play, Arizona State is 0-2 all time. The Maroon and Gold lost to Cincinnati on the road last season and lost by 32 points to Utah 2 weeks ago. Levitt has an 11-1 record against Big 12 opponents and a 6-1 record against ranked teams, with the only loss being a double overtime thriller against Texas in the college football playoff quarterfinals last season. With 5 games left in the regular season, look for Levitt to extend his winning ways against Big 12 and ranked opponents.
Thanks for the in-depth look at Levitt's importance, Ashton. Safe to say he's been the difference maker for ASU. We'll see if he can keep that fire going against Houston.
Thanks, Courtney. Our Kobe Bronstein is here to break down the film from last Saturday's incredible win over Texas Tech.
Yeah, Hannah, statement made from the Sun Devils against number 7 Texas Tech, and I want to highlight some of the key plays over the course of the game that played such a substantial role in that upset victory and this edition of the ASU football breakdown. We start here in the third quarter, 14:23 remaining, a 3rd and 10, a crucial one at that. Sun Devils backed up on their own 25-yard line. We'll roll the clip. Levitt at this point hadn't utilized his legs. This pass rush has gotten home just about all game. We stop it right here. The pocket's starting to collapse. We'll roll it once more. Sam Levitt hadn't used his legs all game, but how about that pocket awareness? He steps up, cuts up field, gets a gain of 14 yards, and that was really the biggest rush he had all game. Just a couple minutes later now, Javen Robinson right here trying to motion towards the middle of the field, saying, who's on this tight end? He's wide open. There was trips on the opposite side. That's where all the attention was going. We'll roll it once more. Hammond waits a second too long, has the receiver contort the other way. Warren blows it up. Martell Hughes, right place, right time for the interception. A huge momentum swing and play. 9-7 Arizona State at this point, and we've seen this connection all season long. Levitt to Tyson. Tyson dealing with a little bit of an injury. He's joking about it here, but then he'll do his dance after that. Tyson in the end zone once again, the 8th time he's done that this season. Sun Devils now lead by a score of 16-7. We roll it right here. About 10 minutes later, you see Jordan Tyson going across the line, motioning, and once that happens, everyone in red has to collapse on what Jordan Tyson is doing because they got to focus on him. He's that focal point of the offense. He's the decoy on this play. He doesn't get the sweep, play action pass. Raleek Brown doesn't get it. Sets a beautiful block on the outside to this safety that's blitzing. We'll roll it again. Levitt has all the time in the world. He throws it to Mateer on the far side. Big chunk, gets it out to the 30-yard line. Arizona State, again, that 8-minute drive, only able to get a field goal, but most importantly, able to eat up all that clock as well. Kenny Dillingham likes what he sees. We stop it right here. This is the biggest play of the game and maybe a play that Sun Devil fans can look back on fondly for years to come. You see 5 split out wide, 3 here, 2 out. We'll roll it again. Empty backfield for Levitt. They need this 4th down conversion to keep the game going. We pause it right here. Jordan Tyson trying to lead Sam Levitt towards the sideline. They don't necessarily need it over there. They have a minute left in the game clock. They have 3 timeouts at their disposal, but it's desperation time. 4th and 2. Sam Levitt rolls. Just like in the playground, in the backyard you practice so many times, they get it over the middle of the field to Jordan Tyson. What a gutsy play from him. Just an absolute warrior. 38 seconds now, 2nd and goal. Raleek Brown punctuates this drive with a touchdown. Arizona State ends up winning the game 26-22. Texas Tech has a Hail Mary attempt to no avail. What a game. Do your dance, Raleek Brown. He earned it. And that's your first edition of ASU Football Film Breakdown. I'm Kobe Bronstein, Courtney, and Hannah. Back to you guys.
ASU fans could not resist staying in their seats as they rushed the field after a 26-22 upset win over number 7th ranked Texas Tech. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said in a statement that Big 12 prioritizes the safety of all players, coaches, and officials. The Big 12 Conference followed up by fining ASU $50,000. Storming the field has been a prior controversy as BYU, another Big 12 team, has experienced its fans rushing the field after exciting wins. But this team did not face any fines by the Big 12 Conference as they followed safety protocols. They safely removed opponent players and faculty from the field and made fans aware of possible fines against them if they take part in rushing the field. ASU has witnessed teams being fined firsthand when Mississippi State upset the Sun Devils 24-20, resulting in a storming of the field. The SEC fined the Bulldogs $500,000 a few days after the game. Overall, it's safe to say the emotions were high last week in Tempe. The Big 12's message is clear: celebrate big and celebrate safely.
The Sun Devils offense returned to its explosive form last week, but now they're facing a new challenge, playing without its top playmaker. This injury comes as the Maroon and Gold prepare to take on the 6-1 Houston Cougars at home this weekend. Our Taylor Gottney joins us in the studio. So, Taylor, what does this loss mean for the Sun Devils?
Yeah, Hannah. Coach Kenny Dillingham ruled star receiver Jordan Tyson out with a hamstring injury after the team's practice on Wednesday. The former Colorado transfer is the backbone of the offense, and his absence could cause some trouble for ASU. Tyson has caught 8 touchdowns, while the only other player on ASU with a receiving touchdown is tight end Shimon Mateer. Tyson has also caught just under 45% of quarterback Sam Leavitt's completions. After winning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against Texas Tech, ASU will be looking for other offensive weapons to step up against Houston.
Speaking of those other offensive weapons, who do you think needs to step up against the Cougars this Saturday?
I think one receiver that has to step up is Alabama transfer Jaron Hamilton. Hamilton had his best performance in the Valley last week against Texas Tech. He finished with 101 receiving yards on 3 catches, including a 49-yard and a 45-yard deep ball from Sam Leavitt. The speedster will be looking to replicate his explosive catches this weekend. Another receiving option that could have a big game is experienced tight end Shimon Mateer. Mateer has always been a reliable option throughout the season and had 66 yards on 4 catches against the Red Raiders. The tight end is second on the Sun Devils in receiving yards with 226 and in touchdowns with 1. He is also third in catches behind Tyson and running back Raleek Brown with 21 receptions. If these two guys can get involved, ASU might have an answer to the tough news about their star player.
So you talk about guys that have already gotten involved on the offensive scheme. What are some other names that we might not have heard as much this season that could spark off ASU's offense?
That's a great question, Hannah. I think if you're looking down the receiver position, a name that might stick out is Derek Eusebio. Tyson's roommate had a huge game in Waco, Texas against Baylor. He had a 61-yard catch deep down the middle of the field to put the Sun Devils in prime position late in that game. Although he has been quiet since then, only reeling in a total of 33 yards in the past 3 games, expect him to make some noise on Saturday. One more name that you might hear get called is wide receiver Jalen Moss. The 3-star transfer from Fresno State has dealt with injuries all year, suiting up in only 3 games so far. Now, he has a chance to see more game action after getting fully healthy and will be looking to spark the Maroon and Gold in place of Tyson. If Sam Leavitt can find these other weapons Saturday night, it will put ASU in a better position of heading back to the Big 12 championship.
Thanks, Taylor, for highlighting the potential targets for Leavitt to look to on Saturday's game. Tyson will look to return for the last year's Big 12 championship rematch at Iowa State next week.
Number 6 Sun Devil Volleyball picked up 2 wins in the state of Utah last weekend over number 19 BYU and Utah. The Sun Devils won in 5 sets in Provo over BYU and were led by both opposite hitter Noemi Glover and outside hitter Bailey Miller. Glover had a team-high 19 kills and 7 blocks, and Miller had 16 kills along with 14 digs. Arizona State won in 4 sets in Salt Lake City over Utah, and the Sun Devils were led in the match by Glover, Miller, and opposite hitter Tatum Parrott. Glover had 16 kills and 6 blocks, Miller had 16 kills, and Parrott had 10 kills.
Over on the court, number 6 Sun Devil Volleyball continues to impress this season, and a middle blocker has been a key piece to its success. Kai Janagabes has more on the reigning Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week's play in this edition of Kai's Corner.
The Arizona State Sun Devils have had a stellar season up to this point, and one of the many players that have helped this team succeed is none other than middle blocker Colby Neal, who has won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, and this is Neal's very first time winning a Big 12 weekly award, and now is only the second ASU player to receive the Defensive Player of the Week superlative since 2013, the other being former ASU middle blocker Claire Jeter, who received the nod last season. Neal received the award following one of her best games of her career, where she racked up 10 total blocks in ASU's win over BYU. This was Neal's career high for blocks in a game, which in turn was good enough to help lead the Sun Devils to a season high of 16.5 blocks. Neal also becomes the second ASU player to win a weekly honor alongside opposite hitter Noemi Glover, who won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week twice earlier this year. Following one of Neal's best games of her career, she now ranks 10th in the NCAA with 1.65 blocks per set. Back to you, Courtney.
We're not quite done with volleyball yet, as they look to keep its hot streak alive this weekend. Our Jake Yovine previews a rivalry match.
Thanks, guys. Aiming to stay perfect and secure 8 wins from 8 in Big 12 action, the number 6 Sun Devils travel south to face their noisy neighbors on Saturday night. Head coach J.J. Van Niel's side is currently enjoying a 10-match winning streak and is undefeated in conference play since September of last year. ASU currently leads this rivalry series 58-56, with its last loss dating back to 2022 against the Wildcats. Arizona, meanwhile, needs to quickly turn around after losing against Iowa State on Thursday. The loss snapped the Wildcats' 3-match winning streak, as the side from Tucson sits 7th in the conference standings with a 5-3 record. Offensively, ASU will need opposite Noemi Glover to continue her strong form this season. The junior has recorded double-digit kills in all but one game so far. On the defensive end, middle blocker and Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year Colby Neal is looking to repeat her performances where she tallied 16 blocks across 2 games in Utah last weekend. Saturday's first serve is scheduled for 6 p.m. at the McHale Center. That's all for me. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jake. Heading over to the ice, where a Sun Devil is currently leading the NCHCs in goals this season. Our Ian King has more on this forward's performance as of late.
Sun Devil hockey currently sits at 2-4-0 after being swept by the Augustana Vikings and now 5th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. While the season hasn't started as hot as the Maroon and Gold wanted, there are definitely some bright spots to take into account. One of those bright spots is senior forward Cruz Lucius, who sits atop the NCHC right now in multiple categories. After 2 team-leading 34-point seasons with the Wisconsin Badgers, Lucius transferred to Arizona State in April of 2024 before undergoing shoulder surgery in August that kept him sidelined until January 2025. During his late junior season stint, Lucius recorded 10 points through 19 games. Just 6 games into the 2025 season, Lucius has posted 32 shots on goal and recorded 6 goals, both NCHC leading metrics. He's also one of 2 players to record a hat trick so far this season, achieving that feat during a 5-2 victory against Alaska Fairbanks that ultimately won the Icebreaker tournament for the Sun Devils. Lucius was selected in the 4th round of the 2022 NHL draft by the Carolina Hurricanes, but is currently a prospect for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Sun Devils look to rebound from their sweep next weekend as they travel to Oxford, Ohio to take on the University of Miami in a 2-game series. For Inferno Intel, I'm Ian King.
Arizona State hockey came into the weekend looking to keep its winning momentum rolling, but the Augustana Vikings had other plans. Our Mason McKenzie has more on the series.
Thank you, Courtney. Sun Devil hockey took on the Augustana Vikings in a 2-game road series last weekend. On Friday night, the Sun Devils took an early lead 5 minutes into the game when forward Sam Ofano scored on a deflection. 5 minutes later, forward Bennett Shimmick scored off a pass from forward Cruz Lucius to extend the lead to 2-0. Late in the period, ASU killed off 2 penalties, including a 5-on-3, but Augustana forward Leonid Bulgakov scored with less than 2 minutes remaining to make it 2-1. The game was tied 2-2 heading into the 3rd period, but forward Ben Trombley scored the game winner for Augustana. The Vikings added an empty net goal and took a 4-2 win over the Sun Devils. On Saturday, Augustana came out with strong offensive pressure. Forward Jacob Yastrzebski opened the scoring with his first career goal to give the Vikings the early lead. Late in the first, Lucius scored his 5th goal of the season to put ASU on the board. With the game at 3-1 in the 3rd period, Lucius scored again to cut it to 1. But that was not enough as Augustana held on to win 5-2. The Sun Devils now move to 2-4 on the season as they head into a bye week. After, the Sun Devils take on Miami of Ohio for a 2-game road series. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Inside the Inferno. I love sharing the desk with you, Courtney.
If you want to keep up with everything Arizona State athletics, don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Inferno Intel. And check out our website at infernointelmedia.com. For our entire crew behind the scenes, I'm Courtney DeWallaby. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Inferno.